Hey there, and welcome to the podcast Tiling Connect, hosted by Mark Moskwa. This show is designed to connect people with the best information intended to strengthen the business of tiling. To keep up to date with all the episodes, don't forget to subscribe.
Today's episode is brought to you by RLA Polymers and Gripset. For peace of mind when waterproofing, trust Gripset's 38FC, the king of membranes. 38FC has been the industry benchmark for years and is rigorously tested internally and through certified NADA laboratories, giving you verified peace of mind. Developed alongside contractors, 38FC has confirmed coverage of 10 square metres per pale and adheres to AS 4858 and AS 4654 compliance. With a quick 1 hour recode time, you can get the job done in record speed without compromising on quality. Don't fall for the copycat products. Trust Gripset's 38FC, the king of membranes. Hey everybody, Mark here from Tiling Connect. Welcome back to the show. Very lucky and fortunate to have a couple of industry rock stars again joining us on a new episode. I have Roy and Dawn Wells from Maroochydore, who have got a very, very interesting past in the tiling industry. They started in the UK and migrated to Australia many, many, many years ago and have a very deep tile pedigree in them. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome, and thanks for making some time to jump on Tiling Connect. Really excited to talk about your background and where it all started. So I think that's probably the best place to sort of deep dive in. I remember having many conversations with you both about coming over from the UK and Roy and you both having tiling businesses or tile businesses back in the UK. So tell us about that. Like, where did it start and take us through that journey from where you landed now on the Sunshine Coast?
Going back many, many years to sort of around 1986, 87 was when I first came back from Australia when I was in my early 20s. And I didn't want to go back into engineering. So I started working with a friend of mine on site just as a tiler's labourer, really. If the truth be known, it was freezing cold because it was winter time. I remember us breaking the ice to get the water for the grout and the adhesive, and it was an education as a labourer to start anyway. And then it just sort of moved generally from there to when it took me probably a couple of years, I think, and then I set up my first company as a contractor, and it just seemed to take off very, very quickly from there. So initially, I was a contractor.
Yeah, right.
Working for some major building companies in the UK, and based sort of a lot of the work was around central London as well. So sort of prestigious projects like Mercedes-Benz, BMW showrooms, Hilton hotels, London Underground stations, right through to head offices and fancy work for entrance foyers and stuff like that.
And then you met me.
Then I met you, yeah. Yeah.
Don't forget the important part.
Yes. And
I wasn't in the industry.
You wasn't in the industry.
No, I was in merchandising and sales, basically.
Oh, wow.
I had quite a good sales training from Pepsi Cola.
Oh, and, beautiful.
So they taught me quite a lot about sales and everything within the retail industry, really. So that was quite handy. But then my husband persuaded me to open up a retail shop.
Yeah, so we built our first retail shop from there. It was tough, really, coming from a contractor's point of view to changing to actually driving the choices in the tiles before they were fixed or fitted. And
but we always liked the European style, didn't we? The Italian and the Spanish tiles. Yeah. So that's what we concentrated on.
And the handmade stuff.
Yeah, handmade stuff.
Natural stone. Mm-hmm. So sort of the middle to upper end of the market. Mm-hmm. And it's quite a nice market to work in, really. And we built that showroom up to a point where I then sold it, and I sold it to a friend of mine, and it still continues to trade to this day very successfully.
Right.
And then I went on to form a company called Mansell & Wells with my partner, which was the Mansell part of it. And we had a very successful partnership for the best part of about 20 years.
Yeah, right.
We had a partnership until my partner's retired a couple of years ago. And we used to do public shows like the Ideal Home Show, which is or was the biggest home renovation show in Europe, I believe.
Wow.
And it ran for something like 80 years, didn't it?
Wow.
I think it ran for 80 years, the Ideal Home Show. It was very gimmicky, very gimmicky, lots of presentation, but a massive audience for probably 3.5 weeks, like 500,000 people come through the show in 3.5 weeks. It was really hard work, but it was very rewarding.
During that time, I took my interior design diploma. So I always liked interior design. It always interests me. So that's been very useful over the years, working in retail, helping design bathrooms and, because not everyone can picture their bathroom or their kitchen or their home when they come in. So it's been handy, very
Absolutely.
handy.
What was the inspiration behind doing the design degree?
It was just something that always fascinated me. And I'm quite an arty person. So, I guess it's part of that interests me. It's to do with art as well. So, yeah.
Nice. Where was the tile retail shop located in the UK?
About the same distance as from north of Brisbane as the same distance north of London, as we are north of Brisbane. So,
okay.
So about an hour, an hour's drive north of London. But it was quite a quirky retail outlet as well because it was built built in old cowsheds.
Oh, wow.
On a farm property. So it was all big beams everywhere and stuff like this. It didn't smell quite like cowsheds, but it was... It had been screeded and renovated properly, and then we built all our displays and shows and and stuff within it.
So I imagine over many years and decades that you've been in the industry, a lot has changed between that very first business that you established and today. And a big part of that as well, of course, was making the transition to move from the UK to Australia. So take us through that step of the journey. How did that happen? How did it occur? What was the planning around coming to Australia?
Oh, it was quite a difficult process. I mean, the first decision was, yes, we're coming, and having to tell the family was a big thing. But once we decided on coming here, obviously mainly for the kids and their future, it was a process of how do we get sponsorship? How do we get a visa to get here? And we went through many different options, but in the end, our UK company that we had at the time sponsored us to open up a new branch here. It took a good couple of years. I had to do a business plan and fill in many, many forms and pay lots of money to the Australian government to have the privilege of coming and living here. So we moved here about 13 years ago, so 2011. 14 years ago, 2011 it was.
Wow,
so,
you're the floods in Brisbane.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. And the kids Tommy was 11 and the triplets were 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a big upheaval when we actually came on temporary visas. So it was a big risk for us to set up a business and invest money into a new store without permanent,
which could have been closed down.
Yeah.
It was.
So we opened up the retail and started importing tiles from Italy and Spain again, and dealing with people that we'd been in business with over the years previously. So all our favourite Italian factories, basically.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
What was one of the biggest challenges that you faced once you established the business here? Obviously, being new to the country and probably not knowing many people, that may or may not have been one of them. But yeah, talk us through.
Yeah, it was very tough. I'll be very frank and very honest about it. I think the thing that gave me the most burn and the most drive to actually make it succeed was that I found out that they were taking bets on me on whether we would succeed or not. So that was really what gave me a rocket.
Of course they were, yeah. And we won't mention any names, of course.
No.
The thing is, the tile industry here, the choice of tiles that people look for here is very different to the UK.
Mm.
And also very different depending on what area you actually live in. So on the coast here, it's, you've got your coastal look tiles, but you've also got some ultra modern. Whereas maybe down in Sydney or Melbourne, where there's an older style of home, it's probably more like the UK taste with the Victorian type tiles, a bit more marble and natural stone. So it's very, very different. So we had to learn our way around that, and we had quite a unique taste in tiles, shall we say, sometimes, and Australian
that didn't fit here.
No. Took sometimes a couple of years for fashions in Europe to catch up.
We also, we were dealt sort of a fair few blows as well on the initial start of it, and one of them was the fact that we'd just about finished and put the carpet tiles down in the showroom. Mm-hmm. And we've got, like you mentioned before, the floods. Yes, we got flooded. So it just went 6 inches underwater. And it was one of those ones where you go down on your knees and you think, does anybody else want to kick, But, we picked ourselves up, dried it all out, what we could, and then cut out what we had to and start again, And then it opened a little bit later than we anticipated, a couple of months later. But we opened, and it was, we had a good positive vibe then. We were getting lovely feedback from the people here. It was great. It was a good pat on the back for us and a very, very good for our egos.
From a recall memory perspective, when you think back to that time when you first came to the country and you experienced the floods like the rest of the state, what do you think it was that enabled you to pick yourself up again and move forward? Because that's a tough challenge. Not only have you picked up the entire family and you've moved to a new country to establish a business, but then you're faced with a natural disaster simultaneously. There must be some sort of characteristic inbuilt in you that just said, "Look, we just can't give up."
I think you just do it for the sake of the kids.
For the sake of us as a family and a unit, I think it was done. We didn't have a choice. There wasn't a choice with it.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it for us. You got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start again. And that was really what we had to do.
And we had some confidence in our products that we were bringing in, and
there was a lot of things that sort of led to it. But and the people around us were really, really good as well. Our friends that we'd made since we came here, they were really good and very supportive to us as well.
Let's talk about natural tiles. So obviously, retail business, Sunshine Coast, competitive area, but also very coastal and very beautiful landscape in any part of the world. What was the vision for the business from the outset in terms of the range that it was going to carry, and how did you choose the tiles that you wanted? I know that you mentioned you were investing quite a bit in the European part of the market, so Italian and Spanish. Just talk us through a little bit about that startup.
Regular visits, I think, from Australia going back to Europe, that really, really helps. It gives you a blend between what is acceptable here and what is new and coming out and being acceptable over there. So you can kind of mix the two. And it gives you quite a nice mix as well, really. They're very acceptable here, I find. And if you introduce something, they really they're very interested, and they really want to accept new trends, new fashions, new ideas. And I think that's, very much an Aussie way, really. It gave us something quite nice, really, because we were able to offer it to people. And to offer something to people like that are all ears, then it gives you sort of, quite a big sense of pride, really, on doing something like that.
There weren't that many outlets on the Sunshine Coast that did Italian or European tiles. So that helped. Yeah, that helped a little bit, having something unique. And then we got maybe a couple of years into the business and we decided, let's go wholesale.
Yeah.
Let's sell to tile shops.
Yeah. Well, before we go there, I have to ask a question. I'm curious. Who's the buyer? So when you're making a decision on colour and style and size, who's the ultimate decision maker, or is it a team effort?
No, it's a bit of a team effort, really. So if Roy likes the look of something when he's over at the Italian or the Spanish shows, he'll send me a photograph, I'll look at it, and then I'll show
passing the blame if it doesn't work.
Then I'll show my manager lady at work, and she's, I don't like that, or I love that. And then, to be honest with you, we gang up on Roy sometimes. if Esther and I don't like it, it's a no, Roy. But to be honest, most of the time we do have the same taste, so it works out pretty well.
Yeah,
I think we're all a little bit tile snobby, aren't we? The three of us.
Yeah,
but you would know your clientele well from the time that you've spent being in the industry, particularly in Australia. You know the types of people that come into your store. You know the flavour of the area. You know what they're going to be interested in wanting to look at. So that only comes with experience, right? So
yeah, we've learned a lot more over the years. Sometimes I can look at a product and say, no, that's a definite no.
Yeah. Also, our wholesale clients are really helpful. I have an amazing selection of wholesale clients, really sort of from one end of the spectrum to the other in taste. I don't mean in calibre or market position. Yeah. I mean just in taste. But generally, if I get a sort of a feel or a vibe for something, even before I've bought it, I'll ping a couple of emails out and some ideas that I've had and some pictures and stuff like that. And I get some great feedback from my wholesale clients, which they can be retail outlets in the Gold Coast, they can be Brisbane, they can be northern New South Wales, or really right inland, So we get a real good mixed feedback, which really helps us to make decisions. Everybody makes mistakes with buying, but you try to minimise it. And I think they really help us. They are part of the key to our succession.
Well, feedback, as they say, is a breakfast of champions, and if you can receive it, loud and clear from anybody around you, it certainly helps you shape the way to move forward and future buying decisions on particular products. I do remember my days working in with one of the big two competitors that there was always lots of end of line stuff. When it came to tiles that just didn't take for whatever reason, whether it be colour, size, price. It happens.
Yeah. It does.
So, with the wholesale business, what was one of the biggest challenges in establishing that and getting that off the ground?
I think initially was being accepted because we were retailers. It's very hard to be accepted by other retailers because you're seen as a competitor. Whereas we kind of tended to take a bit of a backseat with our retail and push the wholesale to the front of the queue, which meant that our retail arm was just a client of the wholesale arm. And as much as we respected what the retail side was doing, we were all ears for the other retailers we were supplying, as a good wholesaler should be,
Yeah.
We were quite particular of what sort of store that we'd want to go into, and we kept them to a minimum.
Yeah, we didn't flood it with clients. I didn't find the necessity to do that because I found the dedication that I got with the small number of clients that I had fulfilled our needs, really. And, it made us a big enough buyer to buy competitively so that we could feed them with the nicer products that were available.
So that's pretty amazing. So you've got a network now of wholesale customers, and they've somewhat got, I suppose, I don't like to throw the word around exclusive, but they certainly have a territory that they can manage without having someone breathing down their neck, and then it gets into a price war, and then all of a sudden that Italian and Spanish tile was price X, now it's price A, and it's, the value of the tile is diminished.
Yeah.
And that's no good for any of us within the industry.
No.
Not
at all.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
The quality of the product is not any good to us.
No.
We didn't set up to be a massive discount store, but to produce the nice products that people were looking for but couldn't find elsewhere.
And that's actually one of the reasons why we don't sell online. We don't have e-commerce online on our own website, because if we were to put prices on there, it dictates to these stores what they should be selling at as well.
And we can't police that.
Yeah.
So that's something our wholesale outlets prefer as well.
What, with the range of Italian and Spanish and European products that you're bringing in, do you focus on a particular size of product? Because I know, and I asked this question, it's a bit of a loaded question. I asked this because in the earlier days I spent a lot of time working in retail tile shops in the early 2000s, and we brought in a lot of Italian and Spanish tiles and sold the Australian-made stuff as well. And the flavour back then for Europe was like 450s. So obviously long time ago. What does it look like today in terms of sizes and variations?
So I think over to you, Dawn, really. Does size matter?
Does size matter? So we tend to sell the larger format bathroom size tiles, mainly because as a wholesaler, it's better for us to sell in bulk.
Yep.
If you're selling subway tiles or mosaic sheets, you're selling maybe 2 or 3 square metres at a time. If you're selling a big format 600 by 1200 tile, you could be doing the whole house.
Yeah.
So 200-300 metres is going out the door instead of 2 or 3 metres. So as a wholesaler, that obviously is better for us.
Yeah.
And we've had a few subways and mosaics over the years, but it's not been the best of results with those, has it?
I still think you need them. You do need them because if you want to complete an order from the front door to the back door, as it were, for something like that, then obviously there's going to be areas of using a different size and smaller stuff for features, etc.
We have had a few lines where the factory have made the porcelain tile, and then they might make a ceramic tile that complements that range colourway. So they might have a subway tile that's in the same range as the 60 by 60 or the 60 by 120, or they might have a decor that goes with a porcelain plank tile. So we've done in those instances where we've mixed up with the small and the large.
What's popular at the moment in the ranges that you have?
Anything with
natural looks.
Yes.
Natural looks and textures, I think, are big at the moment, and they will continue to. You'll see when you go to Italy, textures are a very big thing at the moment, along with the pastels. The pinks, the blues, the greens.
Yeah,
they're really taking a hold at the moment.
Terracotta's back in a big way.
It is, yeah.
Who would have thought?
Well, we do get lines that come back. I mean, many years ago, we used to sell terracotta, didn't we? And terracotta lookalikes. But now it's nicer, really, because it perhaps goes through a period of 10 to 15 years and then comes back again. But it has a modern spin on it, So it's made with modern machinery. The looks are that much more refined, and I don't see anything wrong with it at all. You know,
No.
I think it's lovely because it's got a new spin on it, and it gives it it rejuvenates it and brings it back again, but in a more powerful way, I think.
And don't forget, the people are between 25 and 35
Yeah.
might have seen it the first time round. It's all new to them, as is crazy paving and stone walling.
Yeah. I know, like the one behind you.
So yeah, it's all new to them. So it's quite nice in that sense that you see.
I have a past guest and also a guy that I've known for a long, long time, Josh West from West Tiling on the north side of Brisbane. And he just did a post on socials about a day or so ago, and he's just done it looks like he's just done some terracotta work in some bathrooms. Jump on his socials and have a look. It's phenomenal. Like because I've been through the terracotta phase where we used to sell terracotta. Now we don't sell terracotta. Now we're selling terracotta again. But you're right about that look and feel. It's so different today than what it was, back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And it's very attractive. The colours are really powerful and it looks amazing. A quick word from our sponsor. Partner with Gripset and become one of Australia's leading waterproofers. Waterproofing is one of the most in-demand trades. With Gripset's accredited practitioner program, GAP, you'll be trained and certified in just 3 days. Backed by Australia's leading waterproofing supplies manufacturer and run by trainers with over 20 years of experience within the industry, GAP gives you a wealth of knowledge. Learn how to identify and prevent dampness and water damage in both residential and commercial structures by exploring the current Australian waterproofing standards, correct preparation of substrates for waterproofing, and how to apply both sheet and liquid membranes with a particular focus on the trickier areas such as joints and penetrations. Upon completion, you will be a fully accredited GAP applicator and will be able to access exclusive benefits and free business advertising to expand your clientele. Spots are filling up fast. Upskill today. Visit gripset.com/gap. That's gripset.com/gap, where great applicators get even better.
Definitely, though, it's the Europeans that lead the way with colour selections. So a few years ago, it was all grey. And then the last couple of years at the Italian and Spanish trade fairs, it's gone into the warmer tones.
Yeah, I think the Italians have always led the design side of it. It's something they're really, really big on, is the design and the colourways and stuff like that, and what they're going to push forward for the show this year. That they're very good at holding it back as well. Like I can't even find out now, and we're only a few weeks away from the show, and I can't find out what the new releases are.
Yeah, right.
Now. So they hang on to it right till the last minute, and then it's a nice surprise, when you go to these shows. Like, as you'll find out with the Bologna Fair, it's a great show. It's a fantastic show. I think everybody should go there. If you haven't been before, it's a real eye opener to the industry, how big the industry globally is, what the following it's got. And the buyers that you meet from other countries, and it's very interesting. It's a very interesting. It's a good week, a very good week.
I'll be taking a ton of photos, mate. So I'll be able to come up and have a coffee with you and just share all the insights, just in case there's some tiles that you want to buy.
Yeah. He'll have FOMO. He's not going this year.
Classic. Now, tell me a little bit about industry wins. Looking back on some of your proudest moments and biggest wins for the business so far. What are a couple of things that stand?
Going back quite a few years, there was somebody that I met not long after I got here, and he talked me into joining the Australian Tile Council, and I went along, and it was really good. I really enjoyed myself. And then they used to hold competitions as well. And we actually won a best showroom there. And that was probably one of our proud moments. The fact that we actually stood out for what we tried to do over the first couple of years here. But I think probably the biggest wins are in the way that we've succeeded. is probably a real pat on the back for us from the support of people around us. You know, if that's a fair rendition of it, because we wouldn't have got this far without the support of our other clients.
Yeah.
You know, our other outlets that have supported us and stuck with us and gone, oh, I really like that, we'll give that a go, you know. But very appreciative of that type of thing, really. And that probably is our biggest reward.
What about you, Dawn? Anything to add to that?
You know, over the years, it's been a hard slog to know what works and what doesn't. But yeah, when we got our little award for best regional showroom in Queensland, that was pretty nice, wasn't it? Yeah. Put it in the local newspaper.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But like Roy
Absolutely.
says,
and so you should.
Yeah, and it's not just that one little thing. It's the fact that we've actually achieved it, and we've been here 14 years, and you know, we've made a success of things. That's the biggest win.
Through an amalgamation of things, really, that have all sort of, you know.
Yeah. We've had, you know, the last sort of 6 months have been tough. I should imagine within any industry, really, because purses have been rather empty of money. You know, households are struggling. We had fears when COVID first come on the scene, but in the end, we did pretty good out of COVID because everyone was sitting at home thinking of renovating.
In Queensland?
Yeah, in Queensland. So, yeah, we thought for a minute there it would be the end of us, but in fact it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think we're, and if I can just chime in here briefly, I think we're seeing that again now where we're having sort of the calm before the storm in a really positive way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conversations around the market being soft and not as buoyant as what it has been in the past few years. However, we've got and I know everyone keeps talking about it, but we've got the Olympics coming up in 2032. It's definitely going to happen. It's definitely going to move forward. And there's a lot of work to do come early next year. And I know firsthand that a lot of the contracts the government are working on are starting to be awarded, and everyone's starting to get prepared for that. So there's a lot to come in 26 onwards. And I think we're going to see another definitely in Queensland, we're going to see a massive boom for the next sort of 5 to 7 years.
I totally agree. It's not just the fact of the Olympics and the actual project itself. It's the positive vibe that it brings with it, you know. And if everybody is positive with it from there, everyone wants to do something, everyone wants to move on, everyone wants to change things. And that just creates a market within itself. And to be fair, the Aussies are so positive anyway.
Yeah,
they're so positive anyway, you know. And it only takes a little bit of a nudge from something like the Olympics, and everyone's back in the game. You know, it's a fantastic vibe to be in.
So look, tell me, I've worked in retail stores myself for a big part of my career, not only in building products but also in clothing, hospitality. And I know that working in a retail environment, regardless of the background, can be incredibly challenging. What's some of the biggest challenges you've faced with the retail shop side of the business on the sunny coast that you've had to overcome?
Oh, there's lots of competition here, that's for sure. And you have to be different. I think you have to have good customer service.
Which is good, the fact that you have to have that, because people should demand that as well. Customers, it's a really important thing, you know.
Yeah, because not everybody, you know, can visualise their end result, as it were, and they like support on choosing things. Like to come in maybe 2 or 3 times before they make their minds up. But I think if you can keep up with the customer service side of things, you can get your customers to part with their hard-earned cash. And create something special for them. As to say that we get everything. You know, we've got a massive showroom, and I think to myself, we've got thousands of tiles to choose from. We still get people walk out the door and don't come back.
But
But if we know that we've done our best with giving them that service and giving them a selection of products to choose from, you can't do any more than that. Sometimes it just boils down to price.
Yeah.
And when you've got top-end Italian and Spanish tiles, it can be a harder sale. But, yeah, you've just got to convince them, you're spending money on something that's going to be there 25, 30 years till you redecorate it.
Yeah.
So it's
a permanent
it's an investment.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to persuade people about.
Yeah.
So,
and you're right. Like a bathroom or an ensuite can cost upwards of $15,000. That's just that's an average size. That's exactly right. So it's an average size bathroom. It's basically probably a small size bathroom or ensuite to be frank these days. Navigating your way through the sales process to work out people's buying triggers is always one of those things that takes time. And good or great service is something that I think a lot of businesses need to do more of. You don't see it out there as often today as what we used to 10, 15 years ago.
So with Roy being an ex-tiler and me having my interior design diploma, we do pretty well between us. And the same for Esther, who works in the store. She's got interior design as well.
Well, I was about to shoot into that question that I had pitched, and I am curious. I mean, obviously, skill and technique is one part of a successful relationship, regardless of whether it's in business or just in life when you're with your partner. As husband and wife running a business together, how do you balance sort of your personal and business development relationship while you're making everything come together, including family?
Oh, it can be difficult at times. If you have a bad day, you tend to take it home with you.
You do. We try not to talk tiles at home. It's nicer to leave it at work. But if we have guests, we try really hard not to. It's a little bit more difficult when there's just the two of us here. You just can't help yourself because things are on your mind that need sorting out the next day. And obviously, depending on how busy you are, and we never seem to have enough hours in the day, do we? No. So it's one of those things that we can't avoid completely, but it's never sort of it's more assisting one another, I would say, than anything else, and trying to be creative between us that probably sets it up for the next day. That's the best way I can put it,
And I imagine it can be challenging because business is personal, right? This is your life. This is your livelihood. It's difficult to turn it off and go, well, I won't think about it today because...
Yeah, I mean, if we both worked for a big company, one of the national companies, and we both happened to work in the same store, we probably wouldn't bother talking about work when we got home.
No.
Because it's our own business, you just can't help it. It's just, unfortunately, one of those things. And I would imagine that most people who've got a business together would be the same.
Yeah. A lot of I would think a lot of the businesses similar to ours work husband and wife or partner and partner, and it's generally the way that it started. It started quite often by one of the parties being a tiler or being associated with the tiling industry that way. And then it is very hard not to take it home, I would think. There's things that obviously that need to be spoken about away from the business that affect the business.
Do you find that throughout the year that you set yourself some time to get away from the business? Is there a moment where you get an opportunity to recharge and then return?
Literally 3 weeks over Christmas usually, isn't it? Or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's it. We shut.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely. Time to spend with the family.
Most tradies are off then as well, so no one's out buying tiles. They've already got themselves sorted. So, we shut
for
that's
2 beautiful.
3, depending on how Christmas falls.
Hopefully we get long visits from the kids, from the boys as well. So
both our boys are in the Navy.
Lovely.
So if they get time off at Christmas, it's definitely,
it's
a
great
necessity for us to be home. And
that's beautiful.
The family.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, look, let's talk about retail transitioning, because we didn't touch on this particular topic earlier. However, let's talk about the past, today, and then the future. What does that look like for natural tile? I know that you've got a new project that you're working on, and I really want to spend some good time talking about that now. What's changed in the retail landscape over the time that you've owned the business, and what's inspired the new project? And tell us about that as well.
It wasn't really so much as being inspired to start off with, was it? It was actually that our lease was up in at the end of this year. So the end of last year, we had to start really thinking about where we were going and what we were doing and how long we were going to do it for, etc. So, and to be fair, we've been running from there for 13 years now, because it took us nearly a year to get up and running. So 13 years. And a bit of fresh blood and a bit of change, a new look showroom, a different way of looking at things and how you do things, not the same way that we've done it, that we've always done it, and it's done us a lot of good, really. It's really revitalised us in such a way that we actually can't wait to get going. We've been on the project now for 3 months, and
we've moved the warehouse.
It gets better and better week by week, and it gets more and more exciting week by week. So we've probably got about another 2 months before we're ready for launch, for want of a better phrase. It's something we're really excited about. And we're really excited to show other people.
So the wholesale business side of it has
moved over there already.
Yeah, so already trading for the wholesale warehouse.
Nice.
We're just setting up the new retail store.
Yeah.
And we're having new, as well as tiles, we're having new bathroom wares in there. And we're having a lot more choice of bathroom wares, a lot more variety. Say, for instance, basins are a choice of not just ceramic, stone, concrete, but resin that illuminates. Illuminated basins. They're just one of the new products that we're taking on in the store. And new tapware. We're going to have an affordable range, a mid-range, and a top range. And then we'll have a selection of baths. We'll have
screens,
shower screens, literally everything to do your bathroom.
Nice.
You can come in, you can pick everything from start to finish and have a complete fit out.
That's pretty cool. And are we allowed to tell the audience where?
Yes, it's Unit 6, which is 71 Dacmar Road in Coolum Beach.
Industrial.
Yeah, on the lovely Sunshine Coast. And we're hoping to open the doors in, 4 weeks? 6 weeks?
6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, 6 to 8. I'm being optimistic.
Yeah, that's okay. Optimism is good.
We've also held back quite a bit because of the move on bringing in our new ranges as well. So I think the end of the year we'll start bringing in the flood of the new ranges, which will catch up over that period of where we've been actually holding it back, because everything that we brought in we would have had to move again. So we haven't stopped work on things like that. We've just held back the orders. That's all.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to drip through, and it'll get faster and faster and faster towards the end of the year. But some new exciting products, for tiles, new finishes. We've brought in people that we never thought of that would turn up at the door, and they've brought some fantastic stuff with them. Really fantastic stuff. And you will see this in Europe when you go to Bologna. New flavours, new textures. It's just going to be fantastic. It's such a great market to work in.
Yeah, that's awesome. What? Why Coolum? What was the decision behind that area? out of all of the areas on the Sunshine Coast?
I needed something with the size, really, was one of the main things, because I wanted it all under one roof.
Yep.
So it meant that it had to be a big enough showroom and a big enough warehouse, and access for expansion into possibly an overflow warehouse as well that was quite close to hand.
And it's dead central Sunshine Coast, isn't it? So
yeah, it is. It is.
Okay.
It's a very up and coming place, Coolum Industrial Park.
There's a lot of land in Coolum.
Yeah,
Yes.
we used to go there years ago with the kids to the water park, and it's changed so much. It's just exploded. It really has. You know, there's 2 breweries. There's like 4 cafes. It's just everything that you need. A multitude of builders and professionals, really. You know.
Yeah. Wow.
Every turn.
Well, that's pretty exciting. New showroom, new look, new feel. Any new tapware, new bathroom wear, obviously, an expanded range of tiles and cash and carry, so to speak. If people wanted to come in and they chose a tile on display that you import, they can basically take it away on the day. Is that is that an aspect of the business as well?
Yep, absolutely. It involves stocking, a good few thousand square metres. I think we're probably on about 40,000 square metres in there at the moment. That's just without the influx towards the end of the year. So,
yeah, wow,
quite a lot in stock.
So one thing that I haven't asked, and I didn't position this question prior to today's show, but talking a little bit about your retail and then your wholesale arm, in the beginning phase of the business, how did you get the name Natural Tile out there? What were your marketing strategies back then, and how has that changed over time?
There's a funny story about that. Would you like to say that one?
Oh, please, yes.
Yeah, because it wasn't the names that we actually picked.
Roy went to a government office and said, I want to register a company. And they said, right, you need 3 names. I went,
we only had one.
Well, I've only got one. So I had to, there and then, I had to produce 3 names. And Natural Tile was just one that was off the cuff, really.
Yeah.
It was just, and that was the one they said, oh, you can have. So that was how we ended up with Natural Tile.
And it's stuck ever since, and it's working marvellously for you, I'm sure.
Marvellously. Yeah.
Sorry, Dawn and Roy, thank you so much for your time today. It's been absolutely bloody amazing to learn a little bit more, if not a lot more, about your past and in the present and the future and what's happening. And I know that I'm excited for you in terms of what's ahead. And I think that showroom, I've seen it, the shell of it so far, with the hard sweat and tears that have gone into it already, looks amazing, and I think it'll be incredible. We wish you all the best. And look, as we say it on every show, until next time, stay connected. I will just ask finally, before we close off today, if people in the community want to reach out to you, whether it be architects, designers, tiling contractors, builders, and they want to find out more about your tile ranges and that sort of thing and the new location, how do they connect with you and how do they get in touch?
So we've got our website, which you can email us through, which is www.naturaltile.com.au. Sorry, nearly went back to England then. .com.au. Then we've got email, which is info@naturaltile.com.au. We're on Instagram and we are on LinkedIn and Facebook.
Also, Mark, I'd like to add just a quite an important point to my growth, I would say, and our growth in Australia was due to the Australian Tile Council, which is a group of people that work tirelessly, unpaid, most of them unpaid, to producing the do's and do nots in the industry, their support to people that are actually having issues with the industry, when they are acting properly and as they should as bona fide traders. It's just been a real strength to us.
Yeah, that's awesome, Roy. And I'm glad that you mentioned that and that you have benefited from the ATC that way. I've myself been involved with the organisation for a long time, and I've always been a big advocate of people coming on board and still to this day have conversations with many people within the industry about supporting the only tile industry body in Australia. So
it's run by some really terrific people.
Well, thank you both again. Been amazing. I always love chatting to you. Can't wait to get this episode out into the community. But until next time, stay connected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Tiling Connect. Don't forget to rate and review this podcast. To see more of Tiling Connect, jump on our socials and follow us via LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook. If you'd like to be part of the show, email us at tilingconnect@gmail.com. Until next time, stay connected.